Wolves 5-0. Was it 5? I have to double check because I was more concentrated on all the other games. Arsenal managed to not take it to the final day, yet did their job on the final day. Laura, you've been on the watch along. Look, Arsenal were very, very good today. I mean, I mean, you know, what more do we say? Of course, they always are on the final day.
Yeah, they were very good, and credit to the team. Well done, Granit Xhaka. But I've got to say, you've got to temper that with a little bit of criticism, I would say, for Wolves. I thought they were abject today.
They're awful.
Yeah, they didn't turn up at all. They weren't even on the beach, mate. They were...
Yep.
They were on the plane. En route to the holiday destination.
Right. So they're even bad. More lethargic.
Yeah, they didn't even arrive at the beach.
No, right.
They're still making their way there, bro. They were terrible.
Yeah, they were shocking. What was it? 3.5 to how many minutes? Let me just double check. We're going to go through all the Premier League scores in a little bit. We're going to talk about Granit Xhaka. But let's have a little look at the minutes of the goals. Because I just think we had it won so early. Yeah, 3.5 to 27 minutes. I mean, it was 2.5 to 14. Granit Xhaka getting 2 goals and sort of writing the perfect story in his final home game. Arsenal were just very, very kind of in control. And I think even though they're on the beach, Wolves, I think Arteta would have really liked seeing that the whole playing Partey right back and him inverting actually worked, that the team were sort of purring and enjoying themselves. I was on this show very, very critical this time a week ago for the way they played away at Forest, for the way they ended the second half at Brighton, saying you've still got to end strong. You've still got to just see it through and just deliver your best and get over the line, and then in the summer you could switch off and we go again. And fair play to the team. Yes, Wolves were on the beach, but at least they did their job. They could easily have just kind of won this 1 or 2-0 and that'd be that. Yeah. They put on a bit of a show for the fans. And
no, I mean, you know, the fans, they got to enjoy themselves in the sun. They saw goals.
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka in his last game. You know, that's a bit of a dream send-off, really, isn't it? 2 goals. And, and, you know, there wasn't a single player that had a bad game. There was some that had a very good game. I thought Odegaard was outstanding today.
Mm-hmm.
Saka was outstanding today.
Yeah, lovely goal. Really lovely goal.
So it was good. But like I said, I've got to temper it with a little bit of criticism for Wolves because I just don't think they looked interested.
No, I don't think they did really. There are a couple of the goals that I just thought, you know, the keeper's fumbled it through his hands. The Kivior one, he's not pressured. There's Jesus kind of wins the header easily at the back post. There's kind of a lot of you just
and
thought.
Even if you look at the first 2 goals that Arsenal scored, they were identical, really, weren't they? Xhaka arriving late and just feel free to do what he does.
No, we did play some lovely football as well. We really did. We had 51% of the ball, as you can see there. We had 15 shots, 8 on target. They didn't have a single shot on target. Nothing for Ramsdale to do. I actually thought the first 10 minutes before we scored, I actually thought they looked quite bright. I didn't think we were playing that well.
That's true.
But that was sort of it.
Once we settled in, they probably thought,
no. Yeah, very much so. Get your comments in, everyone. Get your comments in. Let us know what you made of the game, what you've made of the season as a whole. We're not going to do like a season review because that will come, you know, in the next 7 days. You know, everyone of us of an AFTV will give our thoughts on the player of the season in general. We'll break it down tactically. We'll talk about it, just sort of, you know, going through the emotions and the ride and the journey that the season has been. We will talk about Granit Xhaka though, because he got his send off. He did the waves, the goodbyes, and I think it'll be very interesting. And I'll keep up with any news to see whether there was any kind of speeches said or any other clips that came out that might sort of continue to reaffirm what we all know, which is that he is leaving. But the most important thing, which I should have mentioned before, is that if you download the AFTV Plus app, you can jump on AFTV right now with us and call in. That is the important thing. You can actually call in live with us and give us your thoughts. Just get the AFTV Plus app, jump on FanZone, and you will find us. Right. I've rambled on long enough. Let's talk about Granit Xhaka. Well, I just try and look as well for any sort of coverage or any reports as to what's going on there. He was standing ovation, not just from the fans, everyone on the bench as well, the manager, and I think that speaks to the staff too. I think that speaks to what he is behind the scenes and how appreciated he is there. And then, you know, he scored his 2 goals. The fans saying, "We want you to stay." Apparently,
really? Saying, that's good. It's a nice touch. Even though they know he won't be staying. Huh?
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think the "We've Got Granit Xhaka" song. Look, it's a very good turnaround. His relationship with the fans has turned around massively, but more so performances as well. This isn't just, you know, he's a lovely guy and the fans started to see that. He was playing at such a level, and he's shown a commitment to Arsenal over the last 2-3 years that has been really appreciated. This season's been brilliant, and he leaves with a bang.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because we were talking on the live stream about his contribution since he's been at Arsenal. And, you know, a lot of people have said that in the first, how long's he been there? What, 7 seasons?
So I think he's been there since summer 2016.
Yeah.
16, 17, 17, 18, 20. I think it's about 7
There's
seasons.
A school of thought that some people are going with that suggests that whilst the last 2 seasons have been good, the initial period wasn't so good. And that if you're going to judge him, you have to balance it and say, look, you know, what about the first 4 or 5 seasons when he was under par for large parts of that? But to take it as a whole, I think he's been a force for good. I've long been an advocate for Xhaka, even when it wasn't fashionable to do so.
No, you have been.
And I'm not trying to give myself credit for that, because one of the things I've always liked about Granit Xhaka is that, okay, he has made mistakes and there have been performances that weren't very good. We can remember a time when he was giving away goals and getting himself sent off. But one thing you can always say about that man is that he's a character in the dressing room, a big character, and he has leadership qualities, which we've needed. We needed a guy like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I've always sort of looked at that, even when he weren't playing well. Now that he's playing well, or has been playing well the last couple of seasons, you know, that's just part of the overall persona of the man that I appreciate. So yeah, I think he's been good. I think the question was put on the live stream as to, out of 10, how much would you give him? I said 7. And yeah, I think he's been a force for good. Yeah, I think he's been a very good player.
Let me be totally and utterly honest on the Granit Xhaka thing here, because, you know, we're having the discussion, and I think it could be very easy. I'm not saying you're doing this, by the way, but I think it could be very easy in the aftermath of, you know, his final game and a win on a sunny day when it's ultimately been a positive season, as he's had a really good season. I think it could be very easy to almost overdo it in terms of what we've got from Granit Xhaka as a player from the last 7 years. And I want to be as absolutely, completely fair as possible.
Yeah, go for it.
My opinion is, if you're asking me whether overall Granit Xhaka has been a good signing for us, he came for 35 million, which at the time was quite a lot. 35 million 7 years ago isn't really what 35 million is now. He came in for 35 million with a lot of hype and expectation, that physicality in midfield. Do I ultimately think overall it's been more a force for good than bad? I'm not 100% sure I can say it has been. Right. I think we often looked very slow in midfield at times. I felt that football grew beyond just having technical players and maybe robust. I think you have to have energy, you have to have legs. I think that often, I don't know, like I don't think he was played in the right position, but you obviously blame the managers for that as well. And I think as he's sort of grown, he's got better, and Arteta has really got the best out of him in the last, I'd say, 2 years, but especially this season. Arteta, the way he's used him as a box-to-box, I think has been everything. He's come leaps and bounds, Xhaka. And you can't, you know, forget the disciplinary record. A lot of people kind of say, well, that's just a part of Granit Xhaka, that's just what he's like. I'm not sure I buy that either. Do you need to go in sort of two-footed in certain challenges where he's been sent off, you know, grabbing players by the neck at times, and, you know, the high kick on Jota? You know, there have been moments where I'm like, I don't think that's just being an aggressive player. I think these are kind of stupid moments. But the reason I'm talking about all this, because I want to, again, like I said, have a fair reflection on Granit Xhaka's time at Arsenal. I think the way he's ended the season, though, the way he's ended his Arsenal career in this final season, it's been so good. Like, he's been so brilliant this season that I am now upset he's leaving. So for everything I've just said, I'm sort of willing to forget and forgive all of that, because the way he's played the last year, or give it 18 months, give it 2 years, but especially this last season, he's been so good that I actually think he's going to be really difficult to replace. Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. And I think it's also fair to say, and we should point out, that how many managers has been at the club since Xhaka's been? Is it 4? Wenger, Ljungberg, Emery. Sure, if you include Ljungberg, so yeah,
so that's 4 managers, and all 4 of those managers have played him consistently. So that tells you that they've all fought fairly highly of him to play him on a consistent basis. you also got to factor into something you touched on. He's playing in a new role now, and he did very well in that new role. So he's shown a certain adaptability. And then, like I said, you got to also factor in the fact that he's a big character in the dressing room. What I would genuinely call as a leader amongst men. I think.
Well, we saw that away at Newcastle, didn't we? That away performance was really spectacular. I mean, I thought that was one of his best, and I actually think, amongst the criticism of which I've just delivered some of the things people would say about Granit Xhaka and his kind of overall time at Arsenal, one of the things I don't think he gets anywhere near enough credit for is his FA Cup final performances. We talk about trophies, we talk about making history, we talk about lifting silverware. In 2 massive games against Chelsea, one where they weren't great but we also finished 8th, so but they were better than us, and then one where we came against Conte's 90-point Premier League winning side. Maybe they got a few more points there, but Conte's Premier League winning side that were on for the double. Xhaka was brilliant in that game as well, and he was a big part of 2 FA Cup wins, and credit to him for that. Because it could have been, again, I've seen players hide in finals or disappear or whatever, and he wasn't at his best. He wasn't the Granit Xhaka then that he's been this season, but in those 2 massive games he stepped up, as he did in the semi-finals against Man City, by the way. So
no, he can play, and like I said before, he the fans really went for him. Remember the famous incident with the armband and all the rest of it. But he fought their way back into their affections. And that takes a lot of doing, because you've seen with previous players, not just at Arsenal, any football club, it would appear that once you've lost the fans at the football club, that's it. But he managed to turn his relationship around with the fans to the point, like you said, look at the reception he got today, fans saying we want you to stay. That doesn't happen often at football clubs.
No, you're right.
So you've got to give him credit for all those things.
Very, very true.
And I think there's one other thing I'd like to say as well. And for me, this is quite important, right? So if you remember, I'm sure you do, when Granit Xhaka signed, one of the things that was often chucked around at Arsenal is that we're lightweight in midfield. There's no physicality. When it gets down, tough and dirty, players go missing. I think if we're being honest, you would never say that about Xhaka.
No, very true.
You can accuse him of losing his head at times. Yes, I'll give you that with some of the rash challenges and the sending offs. But when it got physical, when it got a bit nasty, when some of the dark arts were needed, Xhaka, in that Arsenal team, was one of the few that was willing to go there. And that does count for a lot, trust me.
I agree. Shaq says, thank you for your service, Shaka. JJ says, we are all maturing in real time. The fans, the players, the manager. Next year, hopefully, we won't be on such emotional highs and lows. I actually think Arsenal, while we are an emotional team and we've been criticised for that, I actually think we've largely kept a better kind of lid on our emotions this season. I think you see that we haven't had a single sending off all season. That is, from what we were in the years before that. People were asking whether there was a discipline problem under Mikel Arteta. Kelvin says, I'm actually very excited to see what Arteta will do with Declan Rice. I think he might unleash a beast given what he's done with Granit Xhaka. We'll see if we get that over the line. And a lot of other people saying that they feel the same way about Granit Xhaka, that they weren't actually sort of expecting to feel this way as he leaves, but he is on his way, and they're sort of actually perhaps sadder than they expected to be. So
I do think, though, having said all of that, or heaped all that praise on him, I do think, and I'll be interested to hear what you think about this, and I was making a point on the stream, as much as we're sad to see him go, it's almost one of those where you're excited for the future as well. And I do think that him leaving is actually mutually beneficial. Because let's face it, Granit Xhaka, how old is he now? 31, I think. 31. I thought he was slightly older than that.
Yeah.
But, it's not young. He's not a spring chicken.
30.
Oh, 30. Yeah. Okay. So he's not young. I mean, there's still a couple of years there. Sure. Good.
Yeah.
But he's entering into that phase where they're getting on a little bit, you know what I mean? And
no, I think what you said there is spot on. That actually, whilst there's a sort of, actually Xhaka is kind of leaving at his best. That's a little sad. There is excitement.
Yeah, for
Arsenal
the future.
Have to address that midfield position now. I think in previous years, Arteta has sort of found a way around it. And I've always said we need to add a midfield. I desperately wanted Tielemans last summer, and now he's been relegated. But I
might get him now.
Well, I think he would, especially on a free. I really wanted that position to be addressed. And he sort of messed around with it in, well, Smith Rowe can play there. Well, Lokonga maybe is an 8. Well, Vieira is more of an Odegaard, but we'll just play him in Xhaka's role. He's sort of done things to sort of just wriggle a way out of it. But the reality is he can't not address it now. He absolutely has to.
Exactly. Because I'm kind of excited for the future, because I'm thinking, like you, I'm sure, Declan Rice, Caicedo, maybe even both.
Yeah.
That's what the fans, they want both. But it looks like we'll get one or the other. A lot of people are saying the Declan Rice thing is a forerunner.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing in someone like that to replace Xhaka, or bolstering the midfield by bringing in someone like Declan Rice, you're actually excited for the future, because with respect to Xhaka and what he's done, you're bringing in a young gun like Declan Rice, you can only be excited by that. So
I completely and utterly agree.
So and also for Xhaka going the other way, that's a new challenge for him. We've heard, you may have heard as well, that his wife favours a return back to Germany.
Okay, fine.
So this move to Leverkusen will be good for him. And we're also hearing that he's doing his coaching badges.
Yep.
So he sounds like a man that knows that his future is going in the right place.
Yeah, and it looks like it's all been sorted quite quickly. His thank you Gunners post, I think, was his really the start of the confirmation of the goodbyes, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot soon. Joshua says, good point from Laurie, win-win for both parties. And TJP asks, did Tierney wave goodbye? Let me just have a little glance to see. Let's have a little look. If anything happened with Kieran Tierney. But you think he's off, right?
I think that Arsenal find it difficult to hold on to him, if in fact that's what they want to do, because we all heard the rumours that Newcastle want him. I do think he's been underused this season, and I think that with a guy like Tierney, who's clearly a very good player, he's not going to want to sit around on the bench for much of next season as he did this season. So I think, the writing could be on the wall there. I wouldn't want to see him go, because I do rate him. In fact, I would say I favour him over Zinchenko in the left-back role, although I do appreciate this inverted role that Arteta likes to go for. Obviously, Zinchenko is more suited to that than Tierney is. But I am going to be quite sad to see Tierney go if in fact that does happen, and I think it probably will, to be honest.
So we've got, this is footage from at Amon Football. His name's Alexander. He's got footage of Kieran Tierney. It seems to be, he's clapping, but it seems to be
that looks like a goodbye to me.
Yeah, it looks like he's really stopped to sort of take it in and really applaud the fans.
Fact that he's one of the last ones off the pitch as well.
Yeah.
You see that? The hands above the head. I know you might be reading too much into this. I always think if you see
Rob Holding's hands are below his head, so that's concerning. I'm joking.
No, but when you see the players and they start doing that for a prolonged period of time, there's a certain certain angle to that makes you think that he's saying his goodbyes. Look at that there. He's
I think it's very rare.
The fact that he's the last off the pitch there as well, to me, that tells its own story.
Yeah, and I think it's very rare that a player can leave a club and potentially go to another rival, which I think Newcastle will be for many years to come. And there be such mutual respect. I think there's an understanding from Arsenal fans. Look, we're on this Arteta journey, we're on this Arteta ride with inverted fullbacks. You don't do what we need you to do. I don't think he's ever really looked particularly good or comfortable in that position this season, bar maybe Brentford away. And he's very suited to doing at Newcastle what Kieran Trippier's been doing. Yep, defending very well, but also getting forward, getting crosses into the box, supplying for their strikers. And wherever
I would imagine
if
you run a poll, I would say probably 8 or 9 out of 10 fans do not want him to go.
I agree.
He's a very popular player with the fans. A lot of the fans, myself included, think he's been hard done by this season. Even if you don't play him as your preferred left back, I think he still could have had more minutes for me. Because there were times when Zinchenko looked a little bit off it, and then even when he was off it and the manager made changes, he sought to put somebody else in Kieran Tierney's position. So when that happens to you and you're a guy like Kieran Tierney, you pretty much know your writing's on the wall. And then in the meantime, I'm sure you would be getting approaches, maybe not publicly,
no, it will be,
privately from other clubs. He's not going to stick around. He's far too ambitious for that. But it is sad, because I would have loved him to stay.
Apparently, Mikel Arteta has done an address or a speech to the fans in the stadium. So if we can get some quotes on what he said, I will try and get that to you.
That's a good move if he's done that.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be nice to hear what he had to say. I'm just having a little look at Charles Watt. Seems to be updating us very regularly. I'll see what we can get. Let's just quickly, we're going to talk Arsenal. We're going to get your calls in literally 1 minute. But I just want to, and by the way, I'm going to caveat what I'm about to tell you with, I'm a big James Maddison fan as a player. I think he's brilliant and I'd love Arsenal to sign him.
Me too.
But this is doing the rounds, this tweet. Rob Tanner, who I believe is at the Athletic Football, tweeted back in March that with mounting injuries, loss of form, poor in-game management, all the ingredients are there for Leicester to get relegated. He said that in early March.
Wow.
James Maddison quote tweeted it saying, "Rubbish, watch and analyse the game properly and stop writing headlines like that which you know make fans pile on with negativity. Play like that will be absolutely fine. Created numerous brilliant chances and win comfortably on another day. They've now been relegated." And that was, it's not a great tweet from James Maddison, but it's drawing a lot of attention on social media because he was saying, look, if we do our thing, we'll be fine, and it's not turned out that way. I'm actually sad Leicester have gone down. I think they've done so well since coming into the Premier League and respected them.
It wasn't that long ago. They were lifting the title. What was it?
It wasn't that long ago, and you look at some of the players they've got from Castagna to Tielemans to Ndidi to Samara to Maddison to Harvey Barnes to Tete. There's a lot of really, really talented players in there. Any that you would take, and your reaction to Leicester getting relegated?
Definitely take Maddison.
I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I'll definitely take.
Well, I don't think it was a clever tweet, but I think he's a brilliant player.
Listen, they've got some good players, man. Harvey Barnes, Tielemans, they've got some good players, man. But the one that stands out for me is Maddison. I would have taken Tielemans earlier on in the season. I don't know how much his form's dropped off.
On a free transfer, I think he's worth a risk, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I do rate him.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not had a very good season. None of them have had a very good seasons. No. But the Maddison's the one that stands out, I suppose.
Fair enough. Let us know in the comments who you would take from Leicester, because, listen, they've got a lot of very good players.
I'm not sure if them sacking Brendan Rodgers was the right way to go, though.
Oh, I watched a video on Tifo Football, which I recommend everyone watching. I think it probably was.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, I think things had gone stale for a long time, and he was made promises, and then I don't know, it was just all a bit it
was all a bit messy.
Yes, I think so. We've got a super chat here. Let me just have a little look. Giuseppe says, get top strikers, keep Balogun, and he's listed Aubameyang, Lukaku, Tammy Abraham, Osimhen, Kane, Lautaro, Nwankwo, who I don't know personally myself, Muriel, Jonathan David, and Nkunku, Gonzalo Ramos, Awoniyi, Rodrigo, Mitrovic. Would you take any of them? Osimhen, I would.
Yeah.
Kane, I would.
Not sure if I'd take Aubameyang now.
No. and you're his biggest fan.
I think that ship's sailed now.
Akmal asked, James, will you do a review of your early season predictions on your channel? I will, and I've had some shockers, so we definitely will. All right, let's take your calls, everyone. Get your calls in. We'll be live for another half hour or so, chatting to the fans. Get the headphones on. Oh, who's first? Sorry, Harvey's in first. Harv, how you doing?
Very well, James. Yourself, Laurie?
Yeah,
hey,
good.
How you doing, bud?
A little quiet on my headphones, but I can hear you, so go ahead. We'll maybe get that sorted on production's end. But yeah, talk to us, man. 5-0 win to end the season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I haven't really been able to get up for these games too much, but it's good to see that we ended the season on a high. I do believe that form does carry over. We saw that last season when we ended things on a high, good preseason, and we saw Chelsea end things on a pretty bad run of form, and that carried over as well. So I'm glad to see that we were able to give the fans, something to be proud of, that we were able to, end the season with a performance that was, I think, reflective of how we were performing throughout the majority of it. So all in all, positive on that end, but, not too much to be singing that many praises about considering what we wanted to get this year.
No, I hear that. I do agree with that, and I think I did my real ranting and moaning and getting that out my system last week, because I felt that with that performance and that result at Forest, that was the time where I really wanted to make my feelings clear. But I'm now in that period of positive reflection on what the team's done this season. I'm glad we've ended the season with a win, a 5-0 win, that kind of, ending the season with the most goals we've ever scored in a Premier League season. I like that. Ending the season only 5 points behind Man City. Yes, shame that we didn't win it, but I'd rather be somewhat in touching distance. And they're little things that I don't think ultimately make a massive difference, but it's something that just suggests that the gap isn't what it was for most of the season.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think that's just, trying to take something away from it.
Of course it is.
I'm
not going to watch football for 2 months. Yeah, it is. I'm taking everything I can.
I don't know, man. I'm of that mentality of, if you're second, you're just the first loser. So
no, of course. Yeah, that's right.
We can, whatever we got to do to make ourselves feel better, by looking at the table, sure. But a lot of drop points in this last 2 months or so that are just unacceptable. That's how I'm going to look at it.
No, listen, I do agree. Let me ask you one more thing. I know we like to talk tactics with each other, and Thomas Partey, it didn't really look right last week. It looked too right heavy. This week, I think we got the balance a lot better, even though it's the same personnel and the same 11. I just felt there was a much better shape. What did you kind of make of Partey at right back?
So today I think it made more sense because he was playing more so in a midfield pivot along Jorginho. And therefore, when the ball gets out wide, he doesn't have that much of a burden. Ben White can sort of start in there. Today was more of a 3-2-5 in the build-up as opposed to a 2-3-5 when he's been there. So that makes more sense. And that's where I think he can operate. But I don't think that's what I would want as my first option going into next season. I do think that we need a right back. I want Ben White to go back to center back. I want a healthy Tomiyasu. So hopefully that's not where, the priorities lie with Thomas Partey.
Yeah, fair enough. Laurie, what we've got? Harvey?
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with the caller there. And I must say, and I'm going to say this, I hope it doesn't come across as too negative or negative in any way, but you've got to temper all that we said there with the fact that Wolves were woeful and they offered the path of least resistance today. So just how much that Partey thing is going to work long term, I have my doubts, if I'm being quite honest. I do agree with the caller. We do need to sort that right back situation out because I'm not convinced that Partey is the long term answer for that. But, listen, he can do a job there as he did there today. He did play well actually today. But let's not be fooled that that is not the answer long term. So
Harvey, quick, your wish list for the summer. Not necessarily players, but definitely positions and kind of the caliber you're looking in those positions.
Mate, my wish list is like a 4-year-old asking Santa for gifts on Christmas. It's never ending. I want a right back. I want a holding midfielder to replace Partey. I want a backup to that holding midfielder as well. I want a midfielder to replace Granit Xhaka since he's on the outcoming. And I would like, ideally, to get a different profile of striker and move on from both Eddie and Balogun. So there's 6 players on my wish list. Knowing this club will probably get 3. And the whole entire fan base will talk about how it's an amazing summer. So that's what I want versus what I think is actually going to happen. So I'll be my same pessimistic and unhappy, miserable bastard coming next season as well. Don't worry, guys. I won't change that.
I don't actually think you're that negative, but anyway, we'll see. Hopefully,
some guys in the chat think I am, so
I'll let them be. Listen, hopefully we'll see you out in the States. I know we need to chat and catch up about all that, but
yeah, you got your number, man. So I'm sure we'll get it sorted and we'll figure something out.
Harv, always a pleasure.
Thanks,
for the last time till August.
Yeah,
yeah, man. Lap of honor. Lap of honor.
We'll get you on AFTV in some capacity for sure.
Yeah, thank you guys for all the all the work you guys do, all the content you guys put out, giving us fans a platform. Thank you for your kindness, always giving me your ear, and the camaraderie that we've built. Despite us, being a whole entire ocean away. So much love to you, Laurie. Thank you so much as well for your contribution.
No worries, bro. It's always a pleasure to have you on. No, but it's good to have, I just want to finish up by saying it's so good to have fans like you on because you're not scared to speak your mind and it's good to balance up the optimism with a dose of realism. So, yeah, well played.
Appreciate it.
Nice.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Much
See you
love.
soon.
Enjoy your summer.
In a bit. Great to hear from Harv.
Yeah, have we got another call?
Do we have another caller immediately? Hello, do we have another call? Oh, sorry, Laurie's being told to move closer. We'll cut back to the callers in just one sec. But I just want I just want to touch on that, actually, amongst all this Arsenal talk and end of season talk. Yeah, this is the last. Look, FanZone is going to run all summer. So actually, while I said that's the last time we'll speak to Harvey for a while, that's actually fully not true, because we're going to run FanZone all summer. And, but I mean, in terms of getting an instant match reaction from fans, it's going to be a couple months till we see Arsenal play. And I think Arsenal have had the kind of season that makes me want to just jump straight into the next one. I mean, don't get me wrong, a couple weeks break wouldn't be bad.
I said it on the stream, watching that game today, I was already looking forward to next season, thinking, targets and players and, how we'll fare against the other teams. So, yeah, it's already got me excited for August.
Yeah, me too. Was that Declan Rice's last game for West Ham as well? We will see if we can get some reaction.
We hope it is. We hope it is.
I hope so too. Some people are saying on Twitter that Declan Rice for Arsenal is done, so let's see. All right, let's go back. Let's get some more callers.
I'd be very surprised if he's a West Ham player next season. No. Extremely surprised.
I agree. Do we have any more callers? Production team. We have Kieran. Let's get Kieran in. Hey, how you doing?
Hey guys.
Right.
Not too bad. Self.
Not bad. Listen, that was a better way to end the season. A clean sheet, 5 goals. Goal for Kivior.
Yeah.
The Xhaka send-off too. As in Xhaka send-off, not Xhaka sent off, which is what we're more used to.
We're used to seeing a red card in his name. So I saw a tweet earlier today. The ideal thing was Xhaka to score, Xhaka to get sent off, and the fans to cheer him off after he got sent off.
Wouldn't that have been the perfect send-off? Just a red card and a thank you very much for everything.
It's going to seem strange next season with him not being around, isn't it? He's almost become part of the furniture at Arsenal.
Well, he's been there a long time.
But you look at as you've all said, like, we've had 4 managers and he's been the one player that's always been there.
Yeah, I made that point. Yeah. And all those managers have played him consistently, so that tells you. Yeah.
And I agree with you. I probably would rank him at a 7, I think, overall for his time at Arsenal. I think a lot of the time he hasn't played in the position that was best suited to him. He was played as a more defensive midfielder. I think with Partey coming in and then Odegaard coming in, you really got to see what Xhaka is capable of. Like, he's done it for the Swiss international team, where he's played that more box-to-box midfielder. And Sean, as for us, for years, he wasn't playing that role. And I think now that he was playing that role, especially this season, like, it was 7 goals and 7 assists in the league. Like, it really shows the difference.
Kieran, the football might have stopped on the pitch. Off the pitch, though, it's going to be from tomorrow. It's relentless. It starts. The work off the pitch to get everything ready starts because... I mean, we've been sort of looking at the friendlies and what pre-season's going to look like, and it's less than 2 months. In less than 2 months, Arsenal are playing not competitive football, but in semi-competitive friendlies where they're going to need to show what they're about, like they did last summer. So it's not a lot of time. We know how signings and transfers can drag on for Arsenal. So do you think things will pick up quite quickly in the next 10 days to 2 weeks?
I think they need to. I think if we want to be going from challenging City for a title one season to hopefully winning a title, challenging in the Champions League, you need to start off strong. You need to get all your dealings done quickly so you can get the players settled in. So say for the likes of Declan Rice, if that is someone we want, we need to be in fast. We need to get the deal overdone so we can get in, we can get him integrated into the team, give him that chance to settle in, see what way we need to set up to play our best style of football and that. So that when it comes to the first game of the season, we know exactly how we're going to play, exactly who's going to start, what formation, everything tactics-wise needs to be together.
Yep, I completely agree.
No, 100% agreed. And I remember on that whole pre-season thing, I remember vividly watching Arsenal smoke Chelsea. What was that, about 4-1 or something like that? 4-0?
4-0,
yeah. And I remember thinking at that time, I goes, even though it's a friendly, these guys look on it. And indeed, we started the season just like the way we was playing in that against Chelsea that day. So be hoping to see something similar in the pre-season this season. So I do agree with you, pre-season is important. Because I think previously, fans tend to think, it's only the pre-season. But it does actually make a big difference. If you can hit the ground running, that is what you want.
Yeah. And that's what as I've seen ex-players and I've spoken to ex-players who've played at the Premier League, the first 3 or 4 games of the Premier League is torture because it's down to your fitness levels and stuff like that. So if you can get the players you want signed at the start of pre-season, when it comes to that first game, you're in a better shape because you have those players, you can integrate them, rather than if you leave them to kind of closer to the end of the transfer window. Some of those players might not be ready to play in the team, and it kind of pushes you back 2 or 3 steps.
Yeah, very, very true. Kieran, an absolute pleasure. As I mentioned, it is the last time that we'll be chatting to you for a match review, but we'll get you on FanZone.
No, thank you so much. And big shout out to all Arsenal Fan TV. Like I've met you when I've gone to games and been interviewed at games and that. And honestly, you're all generous, really nice lads. Always give time for every fan, and it's always a pleasure to come on here and just be able to give my opinion on different things.
Love for that, and appreciate your time as well and all your thoughts. Thank you, mate.
Appreciate
Thank
you. Thank you.
Cheers to that, lads.
Before we get the next caller on, this is a great tweet from Colin Miller, at Miller_Colin. Point swings from last season to this season. Newcastle with the biggest positive point swing, jumping 22 points. Obviously, we know they finished in the top 4. Man United jumped 17 points on last season. Villa jumped 16. Arsenal jumped 15. Brentford jumped that. So we've jumped 15. So that's 5 extra wins, essentially. On the other side, though, Chelsea with 30 points less than last season. Liverpool with 25 points less than last season. And Leicester with 18 points less.
Interesting. Spurs was very little, wasn't it?
Where's Tottenham?
It's just 1.
Yeah, 11. Minus 11.
Oh, so 11, okay.
11 points less. Yeah, you're talking 4 wins there or so. But I mean... Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Man City actually got 4 points less than last season, which shows you just the standards they set.
Just above us, they're a team that could well threaten Champions League football next season. Villa, ex-Arsenal manager, and finished off the season very well. How did they get on today, by the way?
So should we go through all the scores? Let's do it. We've got them here. Although it'd be nice if this would load quicker. Right. Villa beat Brighton 2-1. They were 2-0 up. Brighton pulled one back. Everton beat Bournemouth 1-0 to secure their safety, which meant that Leeds' result didn't matter, even though they did lose 4-1 at home to Tottenham. Brentford beat Man City 1-0, which, as we were talking about with Harvey, meant that at least the points are slightly closer. Man United beat Fulham 2-1. Chelsea drew 1-1 with Newcastle. Leicester beat West Ham 2-1, but their fate was sealed because of Everton's win. Arsenal beat Wolves 5-0. Southampton... This is a brilliant game. 2-0 down to Liverpool. Firmino scores in his last appearance. They go 4-2 up. Liverpool pull it back to 4-4.
Yeah, crazy.
What a game of football. Then what was that final result?
Man City lost, didn't they? They lost to Brentford.
Palace beat Forest. So the final table looks as this. Man City are the winners of the Premier League. That was a painful one for us, but we finished second. Manchester United third, 9 points behind Arsenal. Newcastle finished fourth on 71 points. Liverpool come fifth with Brighton sixth. They will play Europa League football next year. And Aston Villa got European football by finishing seventh on 61 points. What a job Unai Emery has done to nick Conference League football. And they've beaten Tottenham to it, who are eighth. Brentford 9th, Fulham 10th. I think it's only right that Fulham finished in the top 10. I think they deserved it, although they never looked in real danger of losing that. Palace finished 11th, Chelsea 12th on 44 points. Shocking tally for them. Wolves 13th, West Ham 14th, Bournemouth 15th, Forest 16th, Everton 17th, and then the relegated sides, Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton. I cannot believe.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got Bournemouth and Forest staying up, and Leicester and Leeds. Leicester and Leeds going down. I think at the start of the season, too many people would have had Leicester going down for sure. Maybe Leeds, but definitely not Leicester.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were predicting that Forest would go, and Bournemouth actually. So
I thought Forest would go.
Yeah.
If you asked me 5 months ago, I'd have said Bournemouth. If you asked me 2 months ago or 1 month ago when I was on DR Sports with Matisse, I said that I thought Forest would go. So, well done. I was about to say shows you how hard it is to predict, but maybe I just don't have a clue. All right, let's go back into the callers. We're going to end on the callers, on your thoughts. Just jump on, chat Arsenal with us. Who is next?
got Deanie next.
Deanie, a regular on the show, here to give his thoughts. We've ended on a high, I guess.
We have. And that's the bare minimum we could have asked for. That's the bare minimum I asked for, is that on the last day of the season, just please show us the Arsenal that we've seen for the majority of the season. That's just beautiful football, pressing right from the off. I know Wolves were very much on the beach, but I still wanted us to turn up and do our job. And that's exactly what we did, you know. So I'm so annoyed Xhaka didn't get his hat trick, because he was so close to his hat trick, and that would have been absolutely brilliant. But overall we've had a really good season. I would say, it is heartbreaking that we didn't win the Premier League, but I feel like there are a million positives we can actually take from the season. The fact that Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard all double goals and assists. It's like that. They're double digits for goals and assists all round. We've had more goals from the midfield and all round for the whole team. Arteta is improving as a manager. The team is improving as a team, and we're starting to click more as well. And especially in the moment we're in right now, we are poised to go on for greatness. And that's where this transfer window comes very, very key in the next couple of weeks, as soon as it starts, or even tomorrow. Because I would like to hope that things will hot up. I would like to hope so, but it's been fun. It's been absolutely fun. It
has been fun. Let me read you just a couple stats quickly, Deanie. Mm-hmm. We scored 61 goals last season in the league. We scored 88. So that's 27 more goals this season. These are the most goals we've scored in a Premier League season ever. We conceded 4.
Sorry to cut you very quickly. I think even in the last few seasons, it's been slowly, gradually building up the goals. But carry on.
It has been, well, I think you're right. I'll actually double check that, but I think you're right. 48 goals conceded last season, 43 this season. So we've only chopped the goals conceded by 5. Obviously, we have lost 7 less games. But look, I think the point is, Arsenal on their journey, the one thing and I really wanted to see this when I was doing my predictions with Graham at the start of the season, or I was setting targets. I said, way more points, way fewer defeats. Obviously, these are the obvious things. But the thing I really wanted to see was goals. I wanted to see that Arsenal could really be hitting 3s, 4s and 5s on a regular basis. I don't think the 5s have been so regular, but certainly the 3s and 4s. And 88 goals is a very good talent. It's the best ever in our Premier League history. And that is impressive. Arsenal have taken that jump. So is it just fix the defence and we'll be what we need to be?
It could be as simple as that, but I think it's more so the mentality in those moments when we really look back on it. I'm sure when you look back when you look back on it, it's those moments in Southampton, Liverpool, West Ham. We'll just say it quickly. Those key moments. Don't lose those games. That's mentality. It's more mentality than actual bad defending and pressure, and maybe looking ahead to the Man City game when we should have just been focusing on those 3 games. But it's by the by. It's done. And on to next season. Absolutely on to next season. And I really hope the Cronkies will take this and really push us on now, because this is the best moment that we can ask for to push on as a club. And I have hope. I think Arteta said it in his the video that was posted today as well. He wants to be able to expect 100% from all the players, and as close to perfection as he can get. And if we can get as close to perfection, obviously it won't be perfect, but the closer you can get, that's all you can ask for. When Pep Guardiola came into Man City, we knew what Pep was potentially going to do, but it wasn't always rosy at the start. You have to have those bumps to become the team that Man City are. And the fact that we didn't win it this season is going to burn. It's going to burn, but that's the type of thing we need for next season, going into the Champions League and wanting to win how many trophies we want to win. So,
yeah, I hear that.
All in all, it's a very good season, and I feel like, it's war next season. That's what I want. It's war.
I hear it.
Go to war for everything. Yeah.
I don't want to just wait for Pep Guardiola to leave so it gets easier. I want to beat Pep Guardiola. I want to beat this Man City and this Pep, because people talk about Klopp only has 1 title, but how bloody impressive was that title? And he's got the Champions League, which City haven't got their hands on yet. Well, I got you, Deanie and Laurie. Let me just quickly ask you about this quote. Random one, but it's from De Zerbi after the Brighton game. This is an exact quote, apparently, according to Eurofoot.com on Twitter, and they've credited Charlie Haffenden. I think it can be the last game for Alexis McAllister and Moises Caicedo. It is right that they can leave. They can play at a higher level. I think we sort of knew that was probably coming.
Interesting. The fact he's gone public a bit as well, so soon. Yeah. So let the race begin. Because let's face it, there'll be a number of clubs after the signature of both of those players, and I would imagine that Arsenal will be one of those clubs, certainly as far as Caicedo is concerned.
I hope Kroenke heard that as well.
Yeah. Let's hope he heard it and is
let's hope he
taken note.
Deanie, a pleasure, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Just last thing, very quickly. I just want to say thank you to all of you, AFTV. Thank you to you, James, Laurie, Robbie. I've spoken to Turkish, Guna Lee, Lucy. We've had some crazy debates, some crazy moments, and I want to say thank you to the producers as well, because every time we come into FANZONE, I know me personally, they make me feel welcome every single time, and I know
they're brilliant
because they do a brilliant job. So yeah.
And thanks to you, bro. Thanks to you, bro. We genuinely do, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. We genuinely do appreciate your calls, and you always bring some light and some optimism to the table, which we very much appreciate. So respect, bro. Nice one.
Love
I do what I can for the people.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Appreciate it. In a bit. Who's next? Who's joining us next? Production, let us know in the headphones. Javi's joining us. Okay, Javi, how you doing?
Yo, James.
Look at this. I love it. As you're enjoying a nice 5-0 win in the end of the season. Fair play to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hashtag beach settings. Yeah, we're in the beach, bro. The players are at the beach. Get me?
So. Wait, hold on. We met out in the States.
Yeah, James, big up, James. We're the Peruvian twins, James.
How you doing?
Big up, bro. Big up, guys. Brandon and the boys, bro. We appreciate you guys at least inviting us. Shout out from the Fort Lauderdale Gooners. We just coming back from the bar, ending the season with a nice barbecue, Brazilian barbecue. So big up to you guys.
Sounds great, man.
I'm so jealous. Look, give us just a word on the season for you all. Yes, didn't end the way we hoped for a lot of the season, but ended on a high. Just give us your thoughts generally.
Yeah, our thoughts. Obviously, we all aimed for top 4 in the beginning, but obviously expectations changed throughout the season. So we're trying to go for the title. I know a lot of fans don't like to hear it, but we did bottle it. Like, that's the expectation, and we did bottle, especially from Liverpool, that draw. It kind of deflated me, and West Ham, the games, that pretty much sealed the deal. And then Brighton on the coffee. But it's okay. I'm proud of the boys. I'm even in Orlando when we felt that energy. It was definitely there. I know Chelsea, they have, I guess, it doesn't matter. We felt something special was going to happen. And like I said, if you would have told us in the season if we would have won the league or come back and play the league, then I would have taken it. So to be positive, I'm taking it as a positive. I can't wait for next season. Let's go. Champions League, baby. I love
Champions
you boys.
League.
Come on.
The new kits are out and people are getting their Champions League badges, so yeah, can't blame them. Look, you go enjoy your barbecue because it looks a lot of fun, and as much as I love doing this show, I'd love to be having a barbecue out in the sun right now. So go enjoy. Pleasure to chat to you all again. Hey, Anna Paul, look at it.
Take care, man. It's great settings. Great settings.
Brilliant.
Can't think of a better way to finish off the end of the season by having a Brazilian barbecue by the beach, watching Arsenal win 5-0.
We'll see you in LA. We'll see you in LA.
We'll see you in LA. Did I say here in LA? We'll see you in LA in a bit. Sorry, I was having a few audio issues. I wanted to chat to them more, but we're having a few audio issues. Apologies. But how about that? That's a way to celebrate the end of the season. Yes, we didn't win the title, but enjoy life.
What do you think of him saying that we did bottle it? Do you think for a lot of people our campaign will be characterised by that word, or what?
Laurie, I've been holding something back. I'll be very honest. I think we did bottle it, if I'm really honest. I think when I look at the overall last 2 months, I think 2 goal leads thrown away.
Yeah, it's kind of
not beating bottom of the table at home when you scored 3 goals, but you conceded 3. And then actually, and I say this is a big thing, right? Because you can have a little bad patch. Man City can beat, that can all happen. I was trying to forgive a lot of that. But what winds me up is that when we did beat Newcastle, we stepped up, and I'm with you. I actually think there was a little bit of pressure on that game, just to try and take it to the end. Newcastle were going for top 4. I thought we did really well, and then to lose to Brighton at home and Forest away, I thought was just a little bit of a mental capitulation in terms of understanding the standards and the and keeping up that pace. I'm not saying it's not difficult. I'm sure it is, and I've obviously never been in that position. But yeah, I think when you look at the last 2 months and the set of results, yeah, I think the word bottle, throwing it away, capitulation, not being good enough, whatever it is you want to do or say, yeah, Arsenal didn't get to the levels that I think they should have and could have in those final 2 months. I will say, though, that I think with anything, everything's not black or white. I think there's detail in that. For example, did Arteta bottle it? Some people will say, well, I saw Arsenal go to Anfield and play supremely well for 45 minutes, 40 minutes and go 2-0 up. So is that on Arteta? We go 2-0 up at West Ham after 11 minutes. That suggests to me that he got the team playing the right way. Ramsdale passing it to a Southampton striker in the first 28 seconds. Is that on Arteta? So I think there's detail and all. There's devil in the detail and all that. I think when it comes down to it, yes, we did. But I don't think the Arsenal players went into these games with really shaky legs and really stressed. I just think when adversity came in these games, they didn't know how to deal with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree pretty much everything you say there. And you've got to remember, it's a young team and they're not used to challenging at this level. And then you've got to take into account the tiredness, both physical and mental, and the injuries. The injuries to Saliba and Tommy were significant, and we didn't quite bounce back from that. So there are lessons to be learned.
That's
there.
true. You're right.
And those things I've quoted there are not excuses; they are reasons.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But we'll learn from it. There's growth in this team, and I'm sure we'll bounce back.
Agree. Next caller. Who's joining us next on FanZone? Remember, if you get AFTV Plus. Wilson? Have I got that right? Is it Wilson? Wilson, how you doing?
I'm great, guys. I'm good. I'm feeling quite happy for the first time. I know I have to say, first of all, before I talk about the game, I have to say, James, Laurie, Robbie, and the AFTV team, you guys have done an amazing job. Been absolutely brilliant. And you've been absolutely brilliant all season, and you guys have been a very passionate all season, and very passionate. In terms of the season as a whole, I have to say, as an Arsenal fan, Arsenal have been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They've given me probably one of the best moments, the Bournemouth game, the Liverpool game earlier in the season, the Manchester United game, the 2 Tottenham games, the Chelsea game. Well, everybody beats Chelsea, to be honest with you. They smash them up each time. And, however, I said this to Turkish before, and I say it again. The game that angered me the most was West Ham away. I tell you why. Because we were in so much in control for most of the game, and then, unfortunately, we just threw it away, and we lost our confidence after that, and ultimately we were not good enough. And Manchester City are the champions; they're well-deserved champions. It's as simple as that. In terms of the Wolves game, outstanding. Our football at times mesmerising. It could have been 7 or 8, and Wolves didn't really have anything to play for, to be honest with you. And I said this to Turkish, and I say it again. For me, we need 3 midfielders, because Granit Xhaka is virtually gone. We need another striker, to help Gabriel Jesus and everybody else. We need another winger to help Saka out, because he's been knackered. He's been playing every single game. It's not possible for Saka to play every game. Look at how Man City have won it. Leaders, depth, experience. That got them over. That has literally got them to the title.
Yeah.
And there's something that really annoys me as well. And for some Arsenal fans to think Arteta should go is ridiculous. He's done a brilliant job. He's made mistakes. Like lay off the guy. Oh, it just gets my head in. But anyway, hopefully we will learn from our mistakes, and we will get stronger from this. I hope we do.
Yeah, I think you're right. And look, he's made mistakes, and some people aren't sure about the manager. Look, each to their own opinion. That's fine. I think what I'm certainly happy with is the amount of progress we've made in terms.
I was going to say that.
goals,
I think what we're seeing
goals.
with the manager is year-on-year improvements. 8th, 5th, and now looks second. A very creditable second as well. Let's be honest. So. And
let me tell you something, Laurie. Right, because Arsenal have actually been the only team that really challenged Manchester City this season. If it wasn't for Arsenal, Man City would have run away with it easily, and that's a fact. And hopefully We will learn from our mistakes, be ruthless, spend the money, and kick on again.
Yeah. There's lots of rumours about Caicedo being on the way. Do you think he could be joining us?
I hope so. I feel like he's Premier League proven, and I feel like that particular quality will help us. If we were buying like a midfielder from abroad or something like that, it would have taken them more time to settle in. We need Premier League proven players. The three midfielders that Arsenal should be getting, in my view, is Caicedo, Rice, and Gundogan. I tell you why. All three of them are Premier League proven. Two, I think Rice and Gundogan are leaders. You need leaders. And they've got a strong mentality which Arsenal need. Badly.
I agree. Always a pleasure chatting to you, Wilson. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, Wilson, thank you very much. Thanks for all your contributions throughout the season, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. I will see you soon.
See you very soon.
Hopefully. See you soon, man.
I've just been reminded scrolling through Twitter that, of course, there is an FA Cup final, a Manchester derby, which is going to be great to watch.
And
if Man City win that, we're in the Community Shield.
Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting.
Yay.
Do you want a Community Shield? It's a nice day out.
I want it more than I don't.
Yeah. Let's have it. Yeah.
I'm not so indifferent about it. It's like I don't care. I'm more.
It's always a good curtain raiser, isn't it, for the season?
And I do think it'd have a lot more respect if it was. I appreciate that. I think something to do with the revenue goes to charity, and it was used to be the Charity Shield and all that. But I think if it were named the English Super Cup, I think it would have a different feel. When you look at how it's treated in Italy and Spain, it's a massive deal. So I would like the country to, or the FA or whoever, to take it more seriously or brand it more seriously. But and you can still have everything it generates go to charity, because I think that's a really important football too. But anyway, let's take our final callers as well. Thank you to everyone who's joining us. Hit the like button as well. We have super chat from Miles. Miles says, as an Arsenal fan, I'd like to say you're welcome to the rest of the league. Had it not been for Arsenal this season, City would have just run away with it. I agree with you, Miles. I think on the largely we 100% made a title race out of it, but I also think the way we fell away, I really think we should take it to the last week at least. But fair point, Miles. Right, let's go to our final caller, Jamal. Am I right? Jamal, how you doing?
I'm much better than I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, me too.
Right. I remember we talked a few weeks ago, and I really wanted the boys to go out with some pride.
Yeah.
They clearly didn't watch my interview, because Nottingham, what the hell was that?
No. Cool.
And but hey, this Wolverhampton game, classic Arsenal, last game of the season, no pressure. They go out with a masterclass. Typical Arsenal. But I'll take it, because I didn't have my hopes high for this. I was looking at a loss or a draw, but I'm glad we won and we kept the clean sheet, which is something that we haven't been doing at home this whole season. So that at least we got on a high. Granit Xhaka gets a brace. Would have been nice if it was a hat trick. But all in all, I'm happy with this last game, and I'm looking forward to next season, because we got money now. We got Champions League coming in, and
Jamal, I wanted to ask, sorry to cut you there, you said excited for next season. So if you could choose how long your perfect break would be now between this end that we've seen and now the start of the next season, what would it be? You 2 weeks off and then back in it? Do you get what I'm asking? I guess what I'm saying is, how excited are you? Because obviously we're not going to see Arsenal play for about 2.5 months.
Yeah, we need the break, because our players are fatigued, man. Like Arteta, he doesn't rotate his squad at all. I'm so surprised he didn't give Emil Smith-Rowe a start. He didn't give Reece Nelson a start. He didn't give Eddie Nketiah a start. He played the same 11. And like Kieran Tierney didn't get a start as a fullback. He'd rather play Thomas Partey as a fullback than give Kieran Tierney a start, which is shocking to me. And I like Arteta, but you gotta criticize him there, and his inexperience as a manager shows.
But today it worked. Listen, today with Partey and Kivior right and left back, and Partey coming into midfield, it worked well.
Although I'm just going to interject here, but I voiced the same reservations that you did, and I think it was a missed opportunity to give some of the guys like Tierney, Eddie, Reece, Emil Smith-Rowe, because I think, especially looking at Wolves today, we would have beaten them no matter what 11 we put out. So I'm like you, I was a bit disappointed that those guys didn't get a run out today. I'm also in agreement with you about the team rotation. I saw a stat a couple of weeks ago where I think we were in the bottom 3 for team rotations for the season. And I think ultimately that might have played a part in our demise as well, because what happens when you don't play players or give them enough minutes regularly? So when you do ask them to come in, they're way behind the 8 ball. And you know what I mean? It's kind of unfair really to expect those guys to just come in and just do a great job when they've not been playing. So I think that's another lesson to take away from this season. We need to rotate the team more. Substitutions could be better as well. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
The thing is, we need to be in abundance, because the people we're competing with, they're in abundance. They've got this luxury where they can afford to pay players like high salaries, and Guardiola does rotate his team a lot. You know, like I think you mentioned that a few weeks ago as well. You said City were like 4th as far as like rotating their team around this whole season. Everyone gets a good amount of playing time, and they're all in the FA Cup, the Champions League, and so many competitions, so they get to like play the squad players around. Arsenal haven't done that, and Arteta's experience as a manager shows, and that's something he's got to work on as far as like building his squad depth and getting the players he trusts, and you know, also giving that player, taking that leap of faith with a certain player maybe you don't really trust quite yet, but you give him a chance. I mean, we played like a 16-year-old. We gave him a few minutes, if I remember, was it against Brighton or something? We fielded the youngest ever Premier League player this season. So
against Brentford, Nwaneri came on.
Yeah, I hope that wasn't just for, you know, just for the fun of it. I hope, you know, he does take a leap of faith with a player that he may not be fully comfortable with, but you know, give someone a chance later on. But we need to be in abundance, and in order to do that, we have to spend money, and we gotta take the players that we want, and we can't be afraid to spend some money. I know we made a huge blunder with Nicolas Pepe, and we can't recover from these big purchases like how Chelsea or Man City do. But we need to take the chance. We got the money now. We're in the Champions League. I don't know if the stadium's not paid off yet or not, but we can't be using that excuse anymore. It's been almost 20 years now, so we gotta take the chance. We gotta spend the money and be in abundance, you know.
Yeah, big summer ahead.
So Tielemans out of contract this season, get him. Gundogan's out of contract, get him. James Milner, is he out of contract this season? I don't know if we could use him, but
he's gone to Brighton, and no, I definitely wouldn't. Sorry, but yeah, but he's going to Brighton, but I wouldn't sign him if I'm honest.
That Gundogan one is interesting, the one you reference there, because given what happened this season, do you think City will sell us another?
Well, it's a free transfer, so they couldn't stop it, but I don't think he'll come. I think he'll sign on at City. But we'll see.
I hope he does come though, because like I know Arteta coached a bunch of these boys, a bunch of these guys, so they believe in him too. They know what it's like to work with him too. So maybe he could work his magic. Maybe we could get Cancelo too in there as well. But my point is, we need to be in abundance. So even if we feel like we don't need a player, it's better to have and not need than need it one day and not have. Like what happened with Caicedo, what happened with Tierney, with Smith Rowe, with Saliba. Saliba's the biggest blow we've taken this season, and it showed big time. As soon as he went out, 2-2 against West Ham, 3-1 against City, 3-0 against Brighton. That was literally where our Baron spell started, right when Saliba got injured after Sporting, you know? So we need to be in abundance.
Also, the injury to Tomiyasu was quite pivotal too, because then that stopped us from...
And like, just to end on this, did you guys see the video that they took out on their YouTube, Arsenal, but We Are Arsenal promotional video? Like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, that gave me chills. You know, that really gave me hope for the future. But I have to like be pragmatic. I know they were talking about I think Friday's show. Robbie was talking about like being ruthless, but I wouldn't say we have to be ruthless. You know, we have to be pragmatic, and we gotta have a dose of reality and realize that does give you hope, but it's propaganda. It's propaganda, you know, we're papering over the cracks. That video is great, but it will go down a whole lot better with the trophy, you know. So we got a lot of hope for the future, but don't get it twisted, man. We bottled it big time, guys. Well, and I don't want to make the same mistake. And we can't make any excuse about money. We can't make any excuse about not having squad depth now. We can't make any excuse about paying off no stadium. We can't make an excuse about Champions League. We've got all the pieces there to challenge for the league and really make a push in the Champions League next season. And I'm really hopeful.
I think you're right, mate. Pleasure having you on. Thank you.
Thanks, bro. Respect. Take care.
Hey, just again, guys, I really appreciate you. You really spoil us. Everyone in the AFTV TV group, Robbie, you, Cecil, Ty, the whole lot, and the production team. They're really nice too on the AFTV app. Big shout out to them. I hope you hope to speak to you guys next time.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
Catch you soon.
Take care.
There we go. That's the full-time show.
That's the full-time show.
For the last time this season. We'll be back in August. Fanzone will be going. Like I said, it'll be going all season, all summer.
There's a question for you, just quickly. I guess you've been asked this several times, so you're a bit prepped. But overall, your summarization of the season very quickly.
Really serious, exciting progress. But some of our old issues reared its head again. I think an end to the season, perhaps some stubbornness on Arteta's part, perhaps injury issues, perhaps an inability to deal with really pressurised moments for Arsenal. But we just did it from a much higher position, so ultimately we finished second. But those are things that need to be addressed if we want to be a top club. But the progress has been immense. It's what I asked for as the bare minimum, and I say the bare minimum because I always ask that a club like Arsenal that do spend money and have the size of club we are, always challenge for trophies. But if we're not going to do that, at least I want to see a lot more points, a lot more wins, a lot more goals.
Out of 10, how much would you give it?
Give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. I think a 9 would have been doing better in the cups, but really pushing City to the end, and then a 10 is winning the damn thing.
I went for 7. Actually, did I go for 7 or 8? Probably 7.5 actually. But yeah, I do agree with you. In the league, we did fantastic, even though we fell short at the end. But you got to remember, we were up against City. They're a bit of a juggernaut. I mean, those people that were having a go at Arsenal getting beat by City 4-1. We saw what happened a couple of weeks ago against Real Madrid. 14 times Champions League winners. They got absolutely smoked. So City can do that to people. So it's no shame in finishing 5 points behind City, even though we were at one stage looking likely to win it. But, you know, we fell short and we just got to accept that. Where I do have a slight problem with this season, I think we performed disappointingly in the Cups. So if you look at the 3 cup competitions, the EFL Cup, we went out to Brighton at home. Was it 3-1? That was disappointing.
Yes, 3-1 at home,
the FA Cup, again, we got beaten by City, but, you know, we were beaten fairly comprehensively. Again, I think it was 3-1. But the cup competition that disappointed me the most was going out to Sporting Lisbon in Europe, because I honestly think
hurt.
Over 2 legs as well, so it wasn't the excuse that it was just one game and we didn't play well in that one game. We didn't perform in the 2 games. Sporting Lisbon went out the very next round, and I just think that we should have beaten them, and that was disappointing for me. But that being said, overall, when you consider that for most people our aspiration would have been to qualify for Champions League, we've done that resoundingly, and like I said, we did push City up until a few weeks back. So
agree with that. Well, everyone, that's it. That's the full-time show. Look, like I said, Fanzone on the AFTV Plus app. It's running through the summer. It's running all season and all off season as well. So do join us. I think there'll be a Monday show tomorrow. Is there a Monday show tomorrow? I might be wrong. Do look out for that though, because obviously we will put the link up before we go live. But otherwise, through the week, you'll have the opportunity to have your say on AFTV. If you live in North London, around the Emirates, do catch Cecil. He's always around sometimes asking the fans their thoughts on things as well. If you're out in the States or you're flying to the tour, we'll see you out there as well. There's still plenty of time to talk to all you amazing Arsenal fans, but the easiest place is always here on AFTV Plus on the app. Download it and get on Fanzone. We do Twitter Spaces on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. All right, we'll leave it there. The season's over, Laurie.
Right,
as
James,
you said, maybe slightly disappointing for the standards we had set for most of the season, but an impressive season, I think, nonetheless.
We ended on a positive note. 5-0, you can't argue with that.
That's true. Well done, Arsenal. See you next time.
Take care.